Hey everybody, I wanted to jump on really quickly and first and foremost, just thank everybody for tuning in to episode 6 of the Spiritual GPS podcast. We really, really appreciate every single last one of you guys that have supported us and supported the podcast. It's really been a blessing to us, and we hope that it has been a blessing to you. And secondly, I want to put a plug in for a spiritual GPS event that we have coming up very, very quickly. It is called the Spiritual GPS Men's Conference Prophetic Vision. And so we are inviting all of the men of God who are watching this to come out and be a part of the Prophetic Vision Conference. And guess what? If you are not local to the St. Louis area or the Illinois area, you are able to join us as well. And we have a virtual option for you. So when you register, all you have to do is go to www.spiritualgpsministries.com, go to our registration page, and you will see where you can register for this event, and you will be given an option to join virtually or in person, whichever one you prefer. And so I just want to make an appeal to all the men to come out and be a part of this event. It won't be something that will disappoint you, I'm telling you. And so we just want to get right into the episode 6, where we are talking to Richard and Lakeshia VanTreece about their love story on this Kingdom Love series for Spiritual GPS Podcast. Again, thank you so much and take care. God bless.
So, I want to know, when did you know no? I know you said when you slid in her DMs, but what was the thing she did that confirmed what you thought you already knew when you said, oh yeah, this is my wife?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you some things that I did as we moved. First of all, I went to leadership. I went to Bishop, talked to Bishop about it. Bishop was like, "Yeah, that's a nice woman." Told me a little bit about her background, where she come from, And then second, I brought her around, started bringing her around my family, Not that, it was, I was gonna be married to her, but I wanted to know what my family thought. My mother, I brought her around my brothers, my sister, and they was like, they really looked the total opposite of anything I dealt with. I was like, yeah, this is like the total opposite, And I really do it. The first person I told this,
before you say that, but was there anything I did?
I'm gonna say the thing
because there was. I was trying to see if he gonna say it. Remember, you sent me. This is what you said. You said he sent me a prayer request. Mm-hmm. The prayer request was for you.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good point, baby.
Sometimes you gotta reel him back in.
Look. This the honest to God truth. She prayed for me, and God told me that's your wife. She prayed for me. I was sick. That's when I was having the heart issues from my job, and she prayed for me. The Lord spoke to me and said, "This is your wife right here." And from then on, I was like, "This is my wife." And I never forget. Like, I think about a week or so later, I went camping. The first person I told I was gonna marry was Deacon Patrick. I said, "Patrick, I'm gonna marry this woman."
Months later.
Yeah, probably like a few months later. Yeah, probably a few months. And I was like, and I told Patrick about how she prayed for me. I was like, yeah, the Lord told me this is my wife, Patrick. I was like, I'm gonna marry her. Mm-hmm. This was way before anything. That's the first person I told.
Mm-hmm. Now, same question to you. Was there anything that he did that confirmed or let you, yeah, this is it. This is my husband?
I would say, it was a couple of things, but one was how he pursued me. Okay. My prayer to God was always, because any man can come to you, right? So how do you know which one of those guys? I just kind of was over it at that point in my life. And so I really had just asked the Lord, okay, God, whenever that one comes, he has to be different. Like, he cannot be like any other guy. He cannot approach me like any other guy has. He just has to be different. And he was different. He approached me differently. And I think when it was when we went to dinner for my birthday, and he slid the little blue Tiffany box.
Oh, that's when you knew.
Yeah.
I actually did, because I have not ever had a man, give me something so extravagant, and we were just friends. I kind of had some thoughts about it, but that really was the moment that solidified it for me. I was like, yeah, if this is the person, then I'm okay with that, you know.
So I heard you say that you went and you talked to Apostle Baylor, right?
Yeah,
Did you
correct.
talk to him before you guys made this official?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I went. I wanted to know what leadership think. First of all, because that's my spiritual father. We oversee not only my soul but her soul.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get the blessing from the leadership, and I wanted to do everything the right way. Protocol. We went through. At first, I was like, I didn't want to go through the marital counseling, but
Dating counseling.
it was so good. It was so good. The banks, they was our counselors. I learned so much through that. Even some of the stuff that I learned, we applied to marriage today. I got the notes, still got notes on my phone. I look at,
Okay.
so that was very good.
Okay. And so then to you, question. What is it about Brother Richard that makes you feel safe?
Ooh. Well, I think so many things make me feel safe. I mean, he is a natural protector.
Mm-hmm.
So he, I see him as the person that protects me. His love for God, and just the fact that his care that he puts in taking care of me. But I mean, there's a lot of things that make me just, I think, feel safe. And
did him approaching you the way that he did and going to your spiritual father, did that lend to making you feel safe, or lend to you trusting him and his decision making and the way that he did things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that let me know he was a real man of God. I had dated men before, and I was like, well, I would like for you to have a conversation with my bishop, and they would be like, oh, no, not doing that. So talk about a red flag. Okay, well then we're not doing this. I mean, I guess we're not together anymore. So I that was a given. When he and I didn't have to tell him to do it. He just did it. He knew that he should, and he led with that. And so I think that when you have a man that knows what he should do, and he doesn't have to take the lead from you. I mean, when you're single, and I got married in my 40s, I was used to leading,
right?
And he came along, and I didn't have to do that from jump. He just did what he needed to do.
Brother Richard, so what would you say to some of the guys, because you talked about dating counseling, and that whole period. What would you say to them about going to dating counseling, or about talking to their pastor? Because sometimes people feel like, I'm grown, I don't have to do that, or you're trying to be in my business, you're trying to control what I'm doing. Why did you do it, and what is the benefit in approaching it the way that you did?
The benefit in going to get counsel, first of all, it should be protocol. It's protocol to talk to your leadership because they oversee your soul, So you want that person to be involved in every aspect of you finna make. The second biggest decision of your life is marriage, aside of being saved and giving your life to the Lord. Counseling helps develop you for marriage. There's a lot of topics that come up, a lot of things that come up, stuff that you probably need to deal with, that you don't even know you need to deal with. So counseling help with those things that you might be dealing with, or things from your past. You get a lot that, you and that person and the counselors, y'all talk about things from your childhood, trauma, situations, things that may affect your marriage. So I'll tell anybody, definitely go through marriage counseling. It is something that's going to help you grow in your marriage. Like I said, I can go on my phone right now. I still use things from marriage counseling. Right now, I apply to my marriage that works.
He took a screenshot of every slide.
That's wisdom. That really is wisdom. And you know what? And if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to school. If you want to be a lawyer, you got to go to school. If there are some things that you want to do, you may need certification. You may need training for it. But marriage is the one thing. It is the most important thing that you'll ever do, besides deciding to give your life to God. So it's the second most important thing you ever do, but it's the thing that there's no requirements for. You don't have to have training for it. You don't have to go to counseling. But it's such a big decision. And so I appreciate the fact that, men like you, men of God, understand that you want to go into marriage with all of the tools that you can to help you to better prepare for it, because that's all it's doing. Going to counseling and having wise counsel around you and having accountability, like going to your leaders, it's not so that people can have control over your life. It really sets you up for success. Have you found, you already said it, but have you found that doing it like that really just sets you up for success?
Yeah, I would say it sets you up for success. Like you said, that counseling, it keep you held accountable for things. I'm not going to say no name, but we got friends. They don't go to our church, but we got friends, and we got a lot of different people that we talk to that's dating people, and they wish they had this type of counseling, because if you don't have this type of counseling, there's no one to hold a woman accountable, there's no one to hold a man accountable, and they just really, you're on a merry-go-round, you don't know when you're going to get married, you're just dating a person, and we talk to them, which friends I'm talking about. We talk to,
there's a couple.
Yeah, a couple of, we talk to them, and they be like, so how do y'all do it? We be talking about marriage counseling. I be like, well, our church don't have that. And me and my wife, we just talk like, man, we thank God that we had that that covering, that people that can talk to us, because we got a lot of marriage couples that's in the church, not in our church, but that's in the church that don't have that. And it's just, sad to say, like, it's no accountability, and people don't even know where they're headed to without that counseling. So counseling is
a good foundation.
Yeah, a good foundation.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we do have marriage counseling in our church, but there are still, in our church, it exists to where there are people who refuse to go to counseling. And so thank you for bringing that point up about it being a good foundation and really setting you up for success. And so another question that I want to ask, I kind of want to shift gears just a little bit because we can talk for hours about this. I kind of want to go into now the merging of lives and becoming one, right? So give me a little bit about when you proposed up until the wedding, and then we're going to talk about how you guys brought two worlds together and what that process looked like.
Ladies first.
Who wants to go first?
Let me do the timing part, because your timing all over the place.
Right.
So we actually dated for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
When from the moment we had a conversation and said, okay, I think this is what it is, right? So we started dating, and then we went through the whole counseling situation, and then 6 months later, you proposed.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. You want to talk about how you proposed to me?
Yeah, actually, she probably didn't know I was going to propose to her.
I did. Sorry.
You found out here today, huh?
No secrets.
Yeah, well, I got our mothers together. We went out to eat at Ruth Chris, and I proposed to her.
Literally said to my coworker, "I think he's gonna propose to me." And so, this is hilarious in my mind, anyway. But I told a coworker, I said, I texted her. I said, I think my guy's gonna propose to me. We go out to dinner with our mothers, and we eat, and the guy's like, "Do you want dessert?" And at this point, I was like, I texted her and I said, "Okay, it's not gonna happen today." It's not today. And then the server comes with, you said to me, "Oh, I think there's free dessert." I was like, "It's Ruth Chris. It's never free dessert." And so, but I was like, okay, well, whatever. At this point, because I'm like, well, I'm not getting engaged. Whatever. Whatever they got.
Was you keeping her in suspense on purpose?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
But it was weird because he kept getting up. He kept getting up and going to the bathroom or getting up and doing something. I was like, what is this guy doing? Like, it was just weird. He was just weird behavior.
Were you coordinating stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's why I was like, by the time we ate our dinner and the guy was bringing us the chair, I was like, oh, this isn't what I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to hurry up and save face by texting my coworker and saying this is not happening. And then that's when the guy comes back with this little silver platter and the little tray, and he opens it up and it says, will you marry me?
Aww.
With the ring, and it had the ring in there.
We want to know. Did you cry?
I didn't cry. No.
What you say?
Yes.
Is that how you said it?
No, I probably didn't say it like that. But
How she said, Brother Rich? How she said it?
She said yes.
Yes, I did.
With that longing in her voice?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I did. I was like, listen, if there was anything in my life that I was sure of, it was him.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, from the moment he proposed to me, it was yes. Like it was an absolute yes down to the wedding day.
Oh, that is so
like
sweet.
I wasn't nervous or anything. I was like, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's do this. Like this is where I'm supposed to be.
And the road to marriage, how were you? Were you nervous or?
I was very nervous because I was going into something new. A lot of uncertainties, like what's going to happen. How it's going to be to live with someone I never lived with, or we were just two total opposites.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how is this going to look? But I just continued to pray to God, like it is what it is. The Lord said it's my wife, and everything gonna work out. So it's been on ever since.
Been on and popping, huh? Now she come with a permanent smile, like she done got surgery. Yeah. Permanent smile at church every Sunday, huh?
Oh, that's funny. It ain't always smiles, but but most.
That's what I see, like your soul smiling, because of Jesus, of course. Not that it wasn't before, but I see marriage, even like when I asked you about the being chosen part, I see marriage as, of course, it's my husband loving me. But ultimately, I have always seen it as God loving me through my husband. Mm-hmm. And so it really reflects God's love for us. Mm-hmm. And so when my husband, treats me the way that he does, of course, I appreciate my husband and I honor my husband, But it really makes me honor and love the Lord that much more because I know that it is the Lord loving me through my husband. Yeah. Do you feel like that?
Absolutely. I mean, to honor God, to honor my husband is to honor God. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in marriage, like it's an extension of my ability to further serve God because I'm serving my husband, or I look for ways to continue to be of service to him. Mm-hmm. And so that to me is just an extension of my service. It's an extension of my worship. It's an extension of just relationship with God. Mm-hmm.
So in every marriage there is work, and in every good marriage there is intentional work. Mm-hmm. And so let's get to it. So you guys got married, and I was blessed enough and honored enough to see you guys and be at your wedding. It was absolutely beautiful. You want to tell us anything about your wedding, the planning of it, the process of it, or you want to just get to the...
I mean, it was... I pretty much planned it.
Yeah.
But he was a bit of a groomzilla, which...
Oh, really?
Yeah, he really was. People would see him and wouldn't even think that he would be into the details. Mm-hmm. But he was way more into the details than I thought. And that I needed, but we made it through. So we got there. But no, it was perfectly fine. But yeah, we had a beautiful wedding, and I think that God really put his seal of approval on us when we decided to get married in July, like one of the hottest months of the year,
right.
And outside,
and to have an outdoor wedding. And it was forecasted to be a rainy day that day. And God held back the rain and even blessed us with like overcast. So it was great for pictures. It was comfortable for our guests. I mean, I don't even know if anybody busted a sweat that day. I mean, it was just beautiful.
Yeah, then I remember, actually, that wasn't even going to be the venue. We literally lost money with one venue. I was like, this is not it. I was like, no, this venue is not it. Yeah. And we let them people keep that money. Me and her mom was on a hunt. We found that venue. I like, sorry, I say, this is it. This is it right here. Her mom say, oh, this is definitely it right here. And
He is so proud of himself.
You did a good job because that was a beautiful venue.
Yeah, and it was. You know, it was. I had picked the first one, which I thought was a nice little venue. But I mean, you know, you can't even really compare the two. But it ended up, you know, I know he always likes to just say he wanted us to have a beautiful wedding, and he did. And so we got the venue on the day that we wanted. We were intentional about the day. I was intentional about the day. He just agreed with me.
No,
what was significant about the day?
So he we it was on the 7th. We got married July 7th, 2023. So I was born February 7th. He's born March 7th. And then he proposed to me on January 7th.
Okay.
And then, you know, we got married on July 7th, which was a Friday. I liked that it was different. It was a Friday evening. So it was a little different, but he got along, you know, went along to get along. So, yeah.
So July 7th, it would be 2 years for you.
2 years.
Okay. And so really you have been in relationship since 2019.
Correct.
Because it started from a friendship.
No.
Friendship.
Well, 2020 is when we became friends.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, 19 was me.
Oh, when you said,
Yeah. And I was
okay.
like, that was like the end of 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
2020, probably middle of 2020 is when, you know, the prayer requests started coming in.
Okay.
And then we, you know, started developing a friendship probably 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 4 years.
Yeah.
And almost 2 years married.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about marriage. So you go through all of that. You go through the dating process, being a fiance, you get the dating counseling, and now you've gone through the wedding process, and you had to bring your families together. How was that first? Okay, I feel like it's a story here.
Bringing our families together? Well, he comes from a big family. I don't.
Right.
You know, my family's pretty small.
Did you like that he had a big family?
I did, actually. That was one of my prayer requests. I wanted a man who had a big family because I just didn't have that. And so he had a big family, and for the most part, everybody was welcoming. And it just seemed so natural. My mom came, and I don't even know at what point my mother met your family. It would have had to been after we were engaged. But you know, everybody seemed to get along well. I don't think it was an issue with bringing our families together necessarily.
Yeah, there was no issue at all.
Yeah. He had, you know, even with, you know, your kids, he has children, and I have a daughter that I was fostering. Well, I'm sorry, yes, we do. And so and just bringing them together, and you know, that I don't think there was ever really any issues there either.
Okay. So for you guys, the kids automatically, you know, kind of meshed. They accepted
because they love
your daughter,
right?
and your daughter accepted his kids as brother and sister. So they're all close.
Yeah.
And then the mothers, they got along good.
I mean, for the most part, I guess it's been a while. Like, well, I've recently met, you know, most of the kids. I think I've met everybody except one. And which is fine because the two olders, I mean, really, you know, didn't necessarily have to, but yeah, I mean, everybody seems to be very, you know, polite upon meeting them, and you know, really wasn't too much of an issue.
Gotcha. Just normal, you know, stuff that happens when you're merging two families together. Gotcha. Okay. So how is it going from single with your 4 kids, single with your 1, now a family of 7? How is that? And being a step, y'all don't do in-laws, right? Y'all do mom in love, dad in love, or just dad and mom?
I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
So how was it accepting her daughter as your daughter?
It was easy because I already had kids, you know, and she don't have a dad. And, you know,
she had a trouble past.
Trouble past. You know, me and her hit it off, spoiling her. You know, I love her like one of my own. So there wasn't no problem with that.
Because she is, right?
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
Yeah.
And then he is same with his.
Yeah, I mean, his kids are all older, so
it's a little
you
different.
know, and I kind of had some interaction with his children before we ever started dating.
Yeah.
When we were friends, there was just little tidbits of interaction there, and so I never had any issues or any concerns. I mean, naturally you would have concerns like, how do your children feel about us being together, and do they have any concerns? And I think we even had a conversation with them before at some point, and so it was, I think, coming together. It's been a respectful and respectable process. I don't think I could have asked for anything better. I mean, it could have been worse, but it actually was fine.
Good.
Yeah.
So I got another question. So after y'all got married, how was it adjusting to now? I got another whole person that lives with me. When I lay down at night, I got somebody laying down next to me, and I'm waking up next to somebody. And how was it adjusting to, oh, wait a minute, I can't get up and go like I want. We gotta check in. How was that adjustment period for y'all?
I think what made things adjust for me, I'm gonna say, marriages work. So, like, just if you see a need, something to be done, because, first start out, we're like, oh, I don't like this person do this person do that. If you see something need to clean up, you clean it up, If you see something's laying right there, you pick it up. At first it was like, no, then, Lord started dealing with me, you just go do it, so you won't have no problems arguing or talking about something that someone else can do, and just being transparent, being open, is nothing she don't know about me, nothing I don't know about her. She got the code to my phone. I can lay my phone around. We respect each other, nothing off limits to her, she part of my bank account. She, whatever, like, just total open to her, to let her see, feel that comfortable part of me,
Transparency.
Yeah, transparency is everything, understanding is everything, I know everything about you, you know everything about me. I think a lot of people in marriage, and I got friends I talk to, and a lot of people be like, oh, I don't let my wife do this, I don't let my wife do that, and I be looking at them like, that's why you got problems, man, because you don't want your wife to see that it's some dark areas in you that she don't know about. So I think, like, just opening up to her, this is the woman I want to be with. I'm past all that. When I was out in the streets, I want to be with this woman. I got one woman I want to be with. So I think that's helped me adjust to it, just opening up to it.
Okay, for you?
I mean, it's been an adjustment, because you live by yourself for so long, and I feel like I'm pretty adjusted in some areas. I'm still adjusting. I think one of the hardest things for me was saying I needed money. Because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't need to ask him for money. But that part, it's still an adjustment for me.
He wanted you to ask him. That's what you mean.
No, he didn't want me to necessarily, but it was a challenge for me to just say to him, I need money.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to actually have a conversation with him to say, that's a challenge for me to say that I need money, because I'm used to just having my own stuff and just doing my own thing. Right. And that's hard because, at 45, I did on my own, for all that time. And still, even, he is pretty handy. I pray for that. I would say literally he is just about everything I prayed for, honestly. And I wanted a man that was handy around the house. And then it's funny because when stuff breaks, I'm like, well, let's just call somebody. He's like, no, I'll do that. I'll fix that. And I'm like, let's call somebody. He's like, no, I'll fix it. And so it's really me having to back down, give him the space to be who he is and who I prayed for. And so I'm reminded, because God will say, you asked me for that. So back up and let that man do what he said he can do. And for the most part, that's what we do. So there's still, it's still, we're 2 years, we're only 2 years in, and so of course for me, there's still a little bit of an adjustment, but it's not a tough or hard adjustment at all.
But what I hear both of you saying, and what some couples don't learn until later down the line in their marriage, is you guys are giving each other the space to grow individually and giving each other the space to grow. So you know that you need some more adjustment. and he's allowing you that space, and you're giving yourself that grace to grow, and vice versa. That is key in any marriage, because you had your own life for 45 years. You had your own life. How old are you, brother?
I'm 42.
42. So, however old you were before you got married, so 40-something years. And then you're coming together, and now you have to coexist under one roof. And so that takes time, but giving each other the grace to grow, and remembering, okay, I prayed for this. So now I want to call Roto-Rooter, I want to call mechanic, or I want to call the carpenter, but he can. And knowing, okay, no, this is what I prayed for. Let me let him do it. Even if I think maybe the carpenter might do it a little better. But I'm going.
Right.
But see, knowing that is half the battle. Yeah. Understanding that and being able to, to lean on that so that it doesn't turn into an argument. You just give the space for the growth so that you can come together. That is a key. That is a secret that seems like some people don't know, that they don't get. Yeah, so we're about to wrap this up. I got so many more questions. I think already so far, if you realize it or not, just by sharing your story and sharing some insight into why you guys did the things the way that you did it, I think it's going to help a lot of people, because you gave some practical things and approaches in the way that you pursued her. And even when you talked about dealing with temptation and whatnot, and how you put those boundaries in place, I think that's going to help a lot of men. And so before we end this one, it's about to be my anniversary, and y'all anniversary coming up in July, so I'm a little sentimental. My husband say I'm a softie. I'm going to start with you, Brother Richard. What is your favorite... No, I'm just going, this is real talk. What's your favorite feature about your wife? Physically.
I like her eyes and her ears. I mean, her just
so everything.
Everything. I like everything about my wife.
So everything.
Yeah, I like everything about my wife.
Her eye, her ears. Okay. Baby, you love your wife, because I ain't heard many men say her ears. That is a man in love.
Or you just like...
I like your whole feature, your whole face, anything about you, baby.
Okay. What's your favorite feature about him?
Ooh. I like his complexion. I love that. I love dark chocolate skin. And, just the height and his build and, his smile is just so genuine. Yeah.
Okay, y'all, we on camera, y'all. No, just kidding. Okay, so next question, Brother Richard. Give me one of your wife's most powerful qualities to you.
One of my wife's most powerful qualities to me is she a praying woman. I like that in her. That's why we got the prayer room, most important room in the house. A praying woman. That's like, for real. You need a woman. I tell you this, and this I'm gonna give this testimony. This probably about a couple months ago. This is why you need a praying woman. I promise you. I was having a dream. I was dealing with fights with demons, and all I could say was Jesus. And she say, she didn't wake me up. You hear me? She say, I heard you saying G. She say, as you was dealing with that, I was praying over you. I was like, man, for real, a praying woman, a praying woman.
Okay. And what about your husband? What is one of his most powerful qualities?
I would say that he is genuine. He's like authentically who he is. And part of that is he loves people. And because of that, he just gives, so much of himself. I almost have to pull him back sometimes, like, whoa, but I love the way he loves people, and I love the way he loves God. He's just genuine. Anybody who meets him, they say, man, Richard is who he is. It's like a take him or leave him kind of situation. And most people take him, because he is who you're going to get.
I think both of you are very lovable, people that anybody would want to be around. Brother Richard, what is something that your wife does. It could be something small, that she does that you really love that she does. Sometimes maybe, your wife play with your ears, or maybe she, pack your lunch, but just something little that she does, but that is really big to you.
I'll say something that the little that she does is, if I had to say one thing, I would say preparing bath water when my body is banged up. She'll get that Epsom salt. She'll get the lavender, and she'll prepare that for
Wait a minute, hold on. Why is we in the 21st century? Why is in the 21st century still draw baths?
Yeah, I'll be explaining to her on the phone when I'm dealing with this and this, and I get home and she be like, "I got you some bath water in there." And
what you say? What you say? Come on now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What about Richard?
I would say, the little things. I would say, there's a few things I could say, but I'm going to say most recently it is, I think how he loves, our daughter, the youngest one, right? And just, how he took to a kid that was not his, and, allowed her to, when she wanted to, call him dad, and just, he has been that to her. Yeah. And he reassures her. So literally just watching him love her. That's beautiful. And that is probably one of the things that I just love about him the most, right? I love everything about you, but I enjoy watching that part of you.
Okay. I know that you said that before you got married, you were always telling God, listen, I just want my husband to say, baby, you ain't got to work. So I think maybe the Lord has answered some of those prayers. And so we want to come back and we want to see, all the blessings that God has bestowed upon this marriage. And that's something, how God has so many blessings for you. But sometimes you have your individual blessings. But man, when you come together, what he will do,
I think I tell my wife all the time, every day I wake up, I was like, man, I'll be amazed where the Lord brought me from. I'll be like, it's like unreal, like just everything, man. I every day I wake up and I'll tell you, I'll be like, man, it's just like, it's like unreal where the Lord brought me from where I was at, like from the streets to this, to that, to this, to the point to where we is now. It's like very amazing. I just sit back and I know this ain't nothing but God. I 100% know this is nothing but God that can do all we doing. I know, man, this is something else.
And I think both of you are, in your own respect, have so many different testimonies about how God has moved in your life. And I think I remember one with you when you first came to the church. And then I just want to show how God can bring you from where you were. And I'm sitting, I don't know what neighborhood we in, y'all. I don't know this lifestyle of the rich and famous or what. But, you were from the streets. Yes. And, you were shacking with women. Yes. And, it was kind of hard for you at one point to find your way. But you made a decision and said, I want to do this God's way. Yes. And ever since that point, mistakes might have been made, but you were steady trying to get it right. And you got it right. And, you gave your life to God wholeheartedly, committed to it. Yes. And God brought you from that to this.
Trust the Lord and trust the process.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that in part 2. We're gonna dig into that a little bit more. And then on your end, she look a little bougie out, don't she? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. When I say bougie, they just mean well taken care of, just well taken care of. But in your own respect, you had your own challenges, and I know we touched on it, but I might want to touch a little bit more into, the father not being in your life, because that is that can be a big thing for a woman. And so, and how you you told us through God, but I want to, you to give us some specific times. I don't know if you went to prom or you had daddy-daughter dances, or there was times you wish you could have, talked to your father and got advice about this, that, and the other, and how that shaped you. And, and then, have you been saved from the womb? Or when? I know you were saved since you was a kid. But how old were you when you got saved?
Definitely not. I was 21.
21? Okay. Yeah. But you were in church as a young girl?
I grew up in church and went until I was about 15. And then at 15, I kind of stopped going and was exploring other denominations actually, and did that all the way up and through to my adulthood.
Okay. So we're going to dig into that, and we didn't even talk about what you guys do in the church and how the Lord is using you in the church, and just so they can see this thing come full circle and how God can really bless you when you do it His way. But thank you so much for joining us. Before we close, I'm just going to ask our guests, do you have any parting words that you want to say in regards to relationships, marriage, or even to each other? Anything still on your mind left that you want to say?
I would say, just for any single person, any single woman who is waiting on marriage or you desire marriage, I would just encourage you to hang in there, and wait on God. And yes, the wait may be long, but there is a gift in waiting. And, be mindful, be open to what God is doing in that time. But that's what I would say. And, of course, I love my husband. I think more than he will ever know. I love and appreciate him. And I always say there is no other man that I was put here to love other than this man right here. So,
amen. And I would say to the single brothers out there, this single and trying to stay saved, when temptation arises or you're dealing with a situation, don't hesitate to reach out to someone. The enemy want you to stay quiet. Reach out to someone about what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with. Someone that's saved. Because like they said, like the scripture say, that which spiritual got to restore that which is spiritual. So don't hesitate to reach out to someone about what you're dealing with and just be real about the situation.
That's good. Powerful. I think what we can get from this story is that with God, all things are possible, and that His timing is perfect. And that if you allow God to do what He wants to do, and if you would have patience, and if you would trust Him, then you too can come and experience the blessings that God has for you. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to help the Lord. But if you wait like they did, if you go about the process the right way, it might not be in your timing, but as Evangelist VanTreece said, she had a timing and she was ready, but she realized that she would not have been ready for her husband when she thought she was ready to be a wife. She realized after the fact that, no, I needed some more time, and when God said I was ready, that's when I was ready to marry who God had given me. So take that as encouragement. You might feel like you're ready, but you don't know who the Lord is going to give to you. And you don't know what it is that you're going to need to be prepared for, but God does. And if you wait on God's timing, God will give you even more than you could have hoped. Would you say that you had an expectation, but actually being in it, that God bless you even beyond what you could have imagined?
Oh man, we talk about that all the time. Yes, I always say this, and I'm truthful when I say this. I'm at a place in my life where I never thought I'd be in this place that I'm in right now. I promise you that. Coming up and just the things I was doing and dealing with it, I thought I'd be dead by now. For real, not in jail. Jail was too good. I thought I'd literally be dead by now, but the Lord changed that situation around. I thought every day, we talk about this all the time, like, man, I'm just amazed what the Lord did and where He brought me from. Sometimes sometimes I just cry out to God, and my wife know that, we get up and pray, and sometimes I just cry out to God and just thank Him from where He brought me to, and I know He ain't done with me yet.
You got something you want to say?
I mean, I think I agree, for different reasons. I still sometimes look up and be like, I'm married. Like, that's so weird.
Your
You
whole
know?
life.
Or sometimes I have to remind myself, I can kiss him because that's my husband.
Mhm.
Kind of
Right.
thing, because I've been single so long. But yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to look around and see the life that God allowed us to create, you know, for ourselves, and do that all while still loving God and serving God. It's you know, it's a wonder. God is a wonder. And you know, I remember a prophet said to me, your ladder will be greater. And every now and again that rings in my spirit, that your ladder will be greater. And so even on our worst days, you know, it's like still it's my best day, because this is the greater, you know. So
Well, amen. So if you hold on and hold out, be patient, and you're going to go through. But this is what the end can look like for you if you just let God have his way and wait on him. Thank you so much for joining us for the Spiritual GPS podcast. So we talked about love, we talked about relationship, we talked about their journey. But if anything that was said in this specific podcast that you resonated with, if it blessed you, gave you insight, then I'm asking that you would like, that you would share, that you would hit the subscribe button, and also hit the notification button so that you can be notified when new episodes drop. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Keep watching those podcasts, and God bless you. 1,000 hallelujahs to my King. We praise you.